Hey guys, it's been a while since I've done a video like this. I thought it appropriate for a video on my beach metal detecting equipment and settings. So I want to first say that I have no affiliations nor sponsorships from any metal detecting companies that manufacture equipment or market or anything. So I'm doing this all on my own. All of the opinions you see on this video are solely mine from using this equipment. So I use the MineLab Equinox 800 as my metal detector on the beach, and I use the Extreme Scoops, 2 scoops. So I'll turn you around and we'll go over the settings that I use with the Equinox 800. So here is one of my Equinox 800s. What I've got here, just the setup, I usually have the Patriot waterproof headphones, which I had to order a new pair. My first pair that I ever bought actually started going bad, so I had to order a brand new pair. This should be coming. I've got a backup. I've got on my other detector, my other Equinox. So here, detected lower shaft, and I've had issues with it a couple times. But I contacted Detect Ed to see if they made a extended shaft for tall people. I'm 6'3", and I need a longer shaft, so the lower and the upper shaft actually intersect, or overlap I should say, before you tighten it down. If you don't, this creates a wobble, and it's a whole another issue. But Detect Ed's response was they don't make an extended shaft, lower shaft for tall people. As a matter of fact, the owner of Detect Ed, is a tall guy too. And the response that they gave me was that they just swing their coil closer to their feet. So I didn't like that response very much. I don't like that idea. So I contacted Steve at Steve's Rods, and he made a 30-inch lower shaft for me with carbon fiber, and it fit perfectly into this fitting up here. So anyway, that's what you got in the lower portion. The lower shaft is from Steve's Rods. Steve Rods, you can contact him to get the whole thing, whatever. He's a great guy. The other thing, my coil, this is the original coil that came with the detector, and it broke, the ears broke a couple weeks ago. So I ordered a piece from the Ukraine and modified it, cut off the sides. It's actually a 2-piece fitting that's supposed to fit on there without any kind of adhesive or anything. But I cut it off and epoxied it to my my coil. I ended up having to take both ears off to make it work, but it works great. It's very, very tight. I saw Gigmaster's fix, or what he's been doing to fix the ears on his coils yesterday, and he's going to have a guy, I guess, make this piece, this part that's going to fit on top to epoxy onto the coil. But there's a guy making it in the Ukraine right now. Anyway, so my settings, I'm going to go ahead, and the cuff, by the way, is Detect Ed. It's great, nice and sturdy. I didn't like the cuff from the MineLab stock plastic thing. It broke a couple times before I got this metal one. So we'll go ahead and start the thing up. My settings are going to be based off of Beach 2. I only use Beach 2 as far as the programs on the screen here. So when you first turn it on, you're going to want to be using, of all the buttons, you're going to see the screen come on. Let's make some noise go down here. Sorry, noise cancel will reduce almost all of the noise, even at sensitivities being high. But we'll reduce the sensitivity because I'm inside my house and it's kind of annoying. So anyway, the gear button is what you're going to want to be pushing when you're changing settings on the screen. This coil button over here will move the programs over. So the Equinox 800 has 4 programs, 2 programs within each type of program. So this is Park 1, Park 2. This is Field 1, Field 2. And this is Beach 1, Beach 2. And then this is Gold Prospecting 1 and 2. So I use the same settings within the programs for each type of program. So when I show you my Beach 2 settings, I'm going to be using those in Park 2 as well, which is what Park 2 is what I use for relic hunting or in parks. I hardly ever use, I never use, I guess I should say, Park 1 or Beach 1 or Field 1. Field 2 I've used very few times. But anyway, we're going to Beach 2. So you hit this gear button first to bring up the first item on the menu of the screens on the screen. So the first thing that comes up is the noise cancel. I've already done that. You hit the gear button again, it moves it over to ground balance. I'm not going to worry about ground balance right now. I'm inside my house. But you can ground balance on the beach. I have done it before. It usually gets close to 0. It's either a 1 or a 0 on our beach. So I'm going to move it over one more by hitting the gear button. And this is the master volume. The volume for everything basically on this machine. I have it at 25 at the max. I like to hear it, everything loud as I can. If you hit the gear button and just press it down until the next screen comes up on the same volume adjustment module, whatever you want to call it, then you get into the tone, the individual tone volumes. So this machine you can set it up to well, let's move it over. Basically you can set up the number of tones that you want to hear. There's either a 2-tone program, which you're hearing 2 different tones, a 5-tone program, 5 different tones, and then the 40-tone program, or the rest of the tones. The 40-tone program sounds off every tone. Conductivity number has a different tone, different sound, basically, or pitch. You can customize the pitch level or the sound level of the tone and the volume level of the tone. Anyway, we're going to move over. I've got mine already set up to 2-tone. So what you want to do after you get to the noise cancel, start over again. Noise cancel, hit it again, go to the ground balance, hit it again, you go to the master volume or the volume for the tones. Hit it again, you go to threshold. I don't mess with threshold at all. Hit it again, it's the 5th screen menu, I guess you'd say, over to the right, and you get your tones, the number of tones you want. I've already got it set on 2. You could do 5 or 50. I was wrong. 40 it's 50 instead. So I like to, as I mentioned before, you hit this gear button, press it down until you come up with the same target tone menu, and it comes up to the second menu on that menu thing, whatever you want to call it. So this is where you can set your tones. So I selected, I'll hit it again, it goes to which tone numbers you want. You hit it again and you've got the tone levels. So this is actually where you set those sounds of tone 1. My tone 1, which is all the iron, which is -9 conductivity level, all the way up to 0, is a 1. Sounds very low. So the next tone is very high. 25, as high as you get. Everything non-ferrous is going to sound off on a 25 tone sound level. High pitch. Everything in the negatives from 0 to -9 conductivity level is going to sound off very low. Now, go over one more and you get into discrimination of the conductivities. Your stock settings are going to show all from -9 to 0 blank, and then everything else is going to be marked in. I I black in everything. So virtually I am listening to all metal all the time. I don't mess with the horseshoe all metal thing at all. I just get rid of all discrimination. Hit this gear button again, press it down until another screen comes up on the same menu, and you get into the tone breaks, or what conductivity number you want the tones to break at. I only have 2 tones on this, so I've only got 1 tone break. My tone break is at 0. So all conductivities from -9 to 0 are tone 1, or yeah, the first tone. The second tone, the second tone level is going to be, is going to be 0, and oh no, that's the tone break, so I have it at 0, sorry. So this is the recovery speed, which I have at 5. I either use 7 or 5 on the beach. 5 almost all the time, unless I get into an area of a ton of targets. I bump it up to 7. I hardly ever use anything but 7 or 5. 7 in the water almost all the time. Out of the water, a 5. So, and then you press and hold the gear button again, and you get into the iron bias, which is another discrimination on the machine. Iron bias level 6 is what comes up with the stock coil. This is the initial settings that you see. I reduce it down to 0. I don't want to have any discrimination on iron. I will talk about in a future video, show some testing with the iron bias at different levels and different targets and show you the difference. But I like to have my iron bias at 0. So we'll go back over to the volume levels. The volume level of my first tone is a 1. Volume level of my second tone is 25. Go back to the master. Volume, altogether volume for the whole machine is 25. You press and hold it down. So each one of these menus has 2 options in it. The first option, what you see, is what it is. That's going to be the threshold. You press it down and hold it again. Something else, I don't know what this is, the 4 PE is. I never mess with the threshold. So the target tone, that menu, that's the tone breaks, the tone pitch level, I should say. Right there is 25 for that one, 1 for the first one. You press and hold this down again, and you get into the number of tones you want to hear, either 2, 5, or 50. So that is how I set my machine up. It's very simple. You want to see my Part 2, it's going to be the same thing. You can see the first tone's 25, or second tone's 25, first tone's 1. 2 tone, accept reject is all there. The tones, the tone break is at 0. And FE is at 0, recovery speed 5. That's it. So that's the next thing we'll talk about is, turn this off, are the scoops that I use. So Extreme Scoops, John over Extreme Scoops makes these things. The 2 that I have are titanium. The Sand Shredder V2. I have had 2 of them. I broke both of them. About a month ago, or maybe a little bit more than that, I told John I broke the second one, and he basically said, you're an aggressive digger, which is good, but I have actually already come up with a version 3, and I'm making it right now. He sent me V3, and this is what he sent me. V2 has only these. I believe only these. Maybe it's this one. It only has 1 set of these supports. V3 has 2 sets of these supports on the side. And you can see them going up. I've been using this for a little bit over a month, and quite a bit actually. And I put it through some major stress, and it's good. It's awesome. It's fast. It's great. I use it mainly when I'm out of the water. I use this one, which is the X3, I think it is, titanium. I use it mainly in the water, but I have used it out of the water as well. They work both great. This is just a bigger scoop, and it's a little bit heavier. It goes into the sand just a little bit easier, but that's it. Pretty much what I use on the beach. Hope everybody enjoyed the video. You know, I never ask anybody to like or subscribe. It does help my channel to like and view my videos. I'll see you on the next one. Oh, by the way, there is an epic video coming on Saturday, beach detecting, that I'll be posting. So stay tuned.